Well, good morning from the office. This is George's Hour. I'm George McClellan, coming to you at 11 o'clock on FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live on-air talk show. Brian went off, had probably a couple of very good 2 hours. I listened to some of it. And I just want to say, just throw this thought out there. Isn't it weird that so many people in America are offended by our flag and our culture, but not by the benefits they receive? I just thought I'd throw that out there. The Charlotte, North Carolina riots are no longer riots about shooting black people. They are, as I have said previously, an insidious attempt by the Marxists to promulgate their program, create anxiety amongst non-black Americans, stir up the black Americans, and create the disharmony that will allow, hopefully for Obama, will allow him to declare martial law and declare that the election will not go on. That will start a shooting war in this country. Believe me, people will not stand for that. We had the debate the other day. Well, before I go on to the debate, I'm going to share with you an article I read this morning. It was written by Pat Buchanan, who was twice a candidate for president, twice started his campaign at LJ's own Oscar Pools, but he continues to pontificate, and he does it very smartly. I'm impressed. I think you will like this article, celebrating the racial diversity of the Charlotte protesters last week. William Barber II, chairman of the North Carolina chapter of the NAACP, proudly proclaimed, and I quote, "This is what democracy looks like." Well, if Mr. Barber is right, so too was John Adams, who warned us that democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide. Consider what the protesters who exalt Barber show us as a way towards peace and justice accomplished. In the first 2 nights of rioting, the mob injured a dozen police officers, beat white people, smashed and looted stores, blocked traffic, shut down interstate highways, got one person shot and killed, and forced to call up the state troops and the National Guard to rescue an embattled Chicago police force. This was mobocracy, a criminal takeover of Charlotte's downtown by misfits hurling racist and obscene insults and epithets not only at the police, but also at bystanders and reporters sent to cover their antics. We have seen Charlotte before. It is a rerun of Ferguson, a rerun of Baltimore and Manhattan, and even as long ago as the Watts riot in Los Angeles, where I first started my law enforcement career. After mobs in those cities concluded that innocent black men had been deliberately killed by racist white cops, that story falls apart, doesn't it, in Charlotte? 1 week later, what do we know of the precipitating event in Charlotte? Keith Scott, a 43-year-old African-American father of 7, was shot and killed, not by a white policeman, but by a black one, who shouted to him, along with others, 10 times or more, "Drop the gun." An ex-con he was, whose convictions included assault with a deadly weapon. Scott was wearing an ankle holster and carrying a handgun. Charlotte Police Chief Kerr Putley, who is black, after viewing video from a dash cam and a body cam of the officers involved, recommended against filing any charges. And the chief concedes that he cannot, from the video footage, see a gun in Scott's hands at the time he was shot, but the gun was at the scene and pictures of it were shown. But how is this legitimate investigation of the death of Keith Scott advanced by a mob? We also heard that from his daughter or his wife or somebody who was there told him not to, who also yelled at him not to do it. Keith, don't do it. Claimed that he was reading a book. Subsequently, she said the book he was reading was the Quran. Now, making no implications, he might be learning how to read or he might be learning how to study Arabic language, but she said he had the Quran. That has not come up anymore. An ex-con whose convictions include assault with a deadly weapon, Scott was wearing an anchor holster and carrying a handgun. The chief concedes he cannot, from the video, see a gun in Scott's hands at the time he was shot. But how is this the legitimate investigation of the death of Keith Scott advanced by a mob? And if mass civil disobedience is what democracy looks like in 2016, why are we surprised that other nations look less and less to American democracy as their role model? Moreover, if these repeated reversions of the enraged to street action become the new normal, what do they portend for our country? Blanket cable news coverage of the Ferguson riots split us along racial lines. But what purpose did they serve? When Eric Holder's Justice Department concluded that Officer Darren Wilson should not be charged in the shooting death of Michael Brown, who tried to grab his gun a year ago, the Baltimore, to continue, a year ago, Baltimore divided the nation. 6 Baltimore police officers, 3 of them black, were charged in an alleged rough ride in a van that killed 25-year-old Freddie Gray. Well, Freddie Gray had a broken neck, but they never could prove it was in the van, and he died a full week after he had been arrested and was in jail. In fact, he died in the hospital. This year, a black judge acquitted 3 of the police in 3 trials, and all charges against them, the rest of the police were just dropped. It was a waste of taxpayer money. Baltimore. No evidence were produced that the cops had intended to injure Gray. That's the same defense that Hillary brought. She did not intend to release classified information. In New York, the 5 cops, or the 5 police, who piled on Eric Gardner to subdue him never intended to injure him, and a grand jury said to the grand jury, and Wells was well over 300 pounds. Garner suffered from obesity, diabetes, asthma, and hypertension and died, not of a police chokehold, but of a heart attack. Yes, there have been incidents when cops made mistakes and cases where cops acted criminally. In Tulsa last week, after a white cop, a female, shot an unarmed black man, killing him, who appeared to offer no threat, she was charged with first-degree manslaughter. Is this not, rather than matching mobs, the way to handle such incidents? Yes, it is, I agree. Inevitably, given the violent crime in our cities, 540 murders this year in Chicago, 3,000 shootings, white and black cops are going to be confronting white and black suspects. Inevitably, some of these collusions are going to result in police shootings and black deaths. While most of these police decisions to shoot are going to be seen in retrospect as justified, some police will not be justified, and some will be malicious. The latter will be rare, but they are going to happen. But in a nation of 320 million people, if every collision between white cops and black men resulting in the death of a suspect is to be seen as legitimate grounds for mob action, like Charlotte, we will never know racial peace. Like moths to a flame, TV cameras are attracted to the conflict, especially racial conflict. Networks and TV stations reward with airtime the most incendiary of racial charges. If it bleeds, it leads. Thus, the news going out to homes and bars will continue to polarize us along racial lines. And when the rage of one side and the disgust of the other dissipate, some new incident between police and white men will occur and will be recorded and rushed onto the air. The street action in Ferguson, Baltimore, and Charlotte may be what democracy looks like to barbers, AACP, But to most Americans, it looks like a formula for endless racial conflict and a touch of fascism in the night. It will provide Obama the excuse to start a third term, he thinks, but I don't see that. I do recall, I first came to Georgia in 1963. I was in Augusta, Georgia, in the Army over there. And then when I was done in '64, I discharged. I went back home and joined the California Highway Patrol. That next year, I was in the Watts Riot in Los Angeles, California. Augusta, Georgia, and the reason I bring this up is the following year, Augusta, Georgia was preparing to have riots, not the city, but the black community in Augusta, Georgia was preparing to have riots. The government, the city government of Augusta, Georgia did something very, very interesting. First thing they did was they contacted the pastors of all churches, particularly the black churches, and told them, not asked them, told them to get their people under control and not let them come out on the streets and because they would be met with violence. He then advised store owners to arm themselves to protect their property. On street corner businesses, he had a visual presence of a store owner with a shotgun, supported by 3 armed police officers, visible on the street. And then he had the National Guard standing by, the mayor of that city back in 66 or 67. The black community had his protest. Not one window was broken, not one gunshot was fired, not one person was arrested. It was over and done with. Charlotte should have anticipated, as soon as that confrontation occurred, the Charlotte Police Department should have anticipated what was going to happen. We see it now. It is the rule rather than the exception that those are precursors to rioting destruction. Immediately, I mean, a good intelligence bureau in a police department should have their finger in all those criminal gangs in that area, know everything is going on, and be able to send in a massive force immediately, 2 SWAT squads if they have them, close that whole thing down before it even gets started. It can be done. It absolutely can be done. That's the last, from my experience, that is the best way to stop an incident from boiling over into street violence, where cars are destroyed, policemen are attacked, white people are attacked. There's even in Tampa, Florida now, someone has graffitied a wall with "kill white people," and he's written that, he or she's written that. Well, that could be one person, but it is a signal to other communities, the blacks, whites, Mexicans, that there is leverage in making threats. Now, one man could have painted that wall. Let's kill white people. But somebody's going to take him up on it. And I can guarantee you, once that starts, the deaths of blacks in Chicago are just going to be a runaway, and it won't be because other blacks are killing them. White people are armed out here now. We see the danger coming. White people, law-abiding people, whether they're Latinos or blacks or white, and I'm not dumping on blacks, but I'm dumping on the inner city blacks, and that class of people who do not rise above their station because they've been put there by the Democrat Party through poor education. If anybody's educated, they can rise up, but they got to be educated, and they got to change their whole outlook. And we have to go in that direction as well. But we got problems that are going to far exceed our generation or the next generation into solving these problems. We got to get along together. They're here. Nothing's going to make them go away. Nothing's going to make them go away. And too many of them contribute positively anyway, but a larger portion of them contribute nothing but woe and misery. And I'm at a point now where I've got to say it's time for a few words from our sponsors, so we'll see you on the other side.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited, now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT, now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down, going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, America. The first ever $5 flavor menu is here, and it's a game changer. For just $5 each, you can get a medium one-topping pizza, Wing Street Wings, a Hershey's cookie, and your other Hut favorites. A Pizza Hut pizza for just $5. It's the ultimate crowd pleaser.
How are you feeling, crowd?
Very pleased, thank you.
We do what we can here.
$5 for a Pizza Hut pizza. How can we not be pleased?
Good crowd today.
The $5 flavor menu, America's best pizza deal, only at Pizza Hut.
Welcome back, fun lovers. This is George McClellan. Georgia's Hour on FetchingNews.com. North Georgia's only live online internet talk show. If you want to make a comment on what I may have said or talked about or have a solution, you can reach me at 706-889-9700 or george@FetchingNews.com and send a message. We look forward to that. Another great thinker in our GOP firmament is Newt Gingrich, and I have extracted a few notes from a report he made that is important to the results of that debate the other night. Mr. Brian Pritchard said that the Democrat Party is in chaos. They're in a panic mode. Yes, they are. The first debate, according to Newt, the first debate showcased a blunt, plain-spoken businessman against a polished, professional politician. Hillary speaks words without meaning, analysis without facts, and promises without performance. Trump is a blunt, let's make a deal, let's get the building built, let's sell our product type of businessman. Trump won because he didn't make a major mistake and he stuck to the facts. Hillary was vicious, nasty, mean-spirited, and arrogant. Look again at those final few minutes if you have them booked up on your TV or your internet. Hillary knew there was almost no time left, so she rattled off a memorized rant about Trump's insulting women. The look on her face is one of smug contentment. She thinks she scored major points. In the subsequent interviews with her little groups of hangers-on, she has this big smile and behaves like, oh, she was a victor. The media elite were thrilled that Hillary could be so mean and nasty. The country will prefer a president with a self-discipline and a sense of decency. Trump is going to become president unless he makes a big mistake. Clinton is going to lose again unless she turns the momentum around, and she's losing the blacks in Florida already, and that has alarmed the Democrat Party. Monday night, Trump conveyed his core message. He may have lost on glibness, but he won on sincerity, empathy, and authenticity. And I thought those comments were important enough to actually share, and so they're shared. The Clinton campaign predicts a record turnout. I think that she is correct, but it won't be for the Democrats. I think most Democrats will many will just stay home and let the chips fall away where they may. The House is telling the Transportation Security Agency to stop confiscating breast milk. Okay, where are we going with this one? Well, also, the TSA is getting ready to launch their searches of people boarding trains and bus stations. We have a Gestapo, almost a Gestapo now forming up to control our every movement, getting on and off buses or trains. And I think you got it right and tell your congressman, our congressman, we cannot have this. This is not the America that is in the Constitution. This is the America that the fascists want. And they cannot have a fascist country if they can't control us. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to control us. Hillary told a crowd of enthusiastic supporters in Raleigh, and that was on TV, I watched some of it, the turnout for the 2016 election may be record-setting, and she said increases in early voting numbers support this prediction. She's absolutely right. The requests for absentee ballots are 60-1, or 60-40 for Republicans. What does that tell you? Even independents are going there. I think that she's correct. Do you ever watch Dilbert? There's an article that has made the news on Dilbert, the creator. He said Clinton engineered 90 minutes of alertness. Dilbert, of course, is a cartoon character with a funny shaped head who always manages to get into trouble but walks out of it untouched. Hillary Clinton's physicians engineered 90 minutes of alertness for her at the presidential debate. I think in my short takes I even mentioned this, but I don't use Dilbert, of course. The Dilbert creator Scott Adams contended in a Tuesday column, Clinton looked, to my eyes, as if she was drugged, tired, sick, or generally unhealthy, even though she was mentally alert and spoke well. But her eyes were telling a different story. She had the look of someone whose doctors had engineered 90 minutes of alertness for her just for that event. My observations were that once she got to that podium, she stood absolutely still, did not move, did not walk away for 90 plus minutes. I saw something there. I don't know that I saw what Scott Adams saw, but there was something there. For the first time in history, the Arizona Republic newspaper endorsed a Democrat, Hillary, for president. Did you know? I don't know that. That's 120 years of endorsing only Republican candidates. So there's somebody there who does not. It's one of those never Trump type of people. They're going to pay for that. Howard Dean, once governor of Vermont, once presidential candidate for the Republican Party, said that he thought Trump was on cocaine. Well, everybody has their opinion, but he has no evidence. The former Mexican president rips imperialistic gringo. I think he's talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's very poor performance in Monday's presidential debate, according to Vicente Fox, should concern foreign leaders who would have to work with him in the Oval Office. Fox has been a vocal critic of the Republican presidential nominee since earlier this year, when he made headlines for suggesting America's southern neighbor will never pay for Trump's wall. In an interview with the Washington Post, he compared the first one-on-one debate between Trump and Hillary to the Disney film Beauty and the Beast. Everybody's got an opinion. They're like your noses, you have one. Here's another interesting report. The CDC, demoted a whistleblower over Zika test concerns. Zika is another one of those crises that we face, like global warming, that should keep us all alarmed. And here's somebody who spoke the truth and as a result is being punished for it. A federal agency in charge of fighting Zika, the CDC, prioritized a test for diagnosing the virus that is less effective than the other. And it demoted a whistleblower for raising concerns about the test, according to an independent federal investigative agency. That would be the IG for that company. Election regulators test racism as a new justification to control the internet. Now, if they give the internet to the United Nations, and already in today's news, the United Nations, a committee of the United Nations in Geneva, wants the United States to pay reparations to blacks for slavery. They say nothing at all about reparations to blacks for slavery by all of the Islamic Arab companies whose Quran says it's okay to have slaves. In fact, it's more than okay, it's permissible. And even today, Arab groups go into the Sudan and capture blacks and bring them back as slaves. They're doing it, the Boko Haram does the same thing. And so we have slavery is a big problem apparently, and we have it here in America. Some of these Arabs bring over their Filipina or women, non-Islamic women from other countries, hire them as domestics, and next thing you know, they're enslaved right here in America, and we don't even know it. They're in their in these expensive mansions and houses. But here's this one: election regulators test racism as a new justification to control the internet. It's not in the Constitution, it can't be done. Regulators on the FEC are at odds over whether unregulated speech on social media could harm minorities by causing them to feel excluded. Where will government micromanagement of political speech on the internet stop? Can't we have one forum for free speech the government doesn't need to censor? Republican Commissioner Lee Goodman told the Washington Examiner His comments were in response to Monday remarks by a Goodwin colleague, Democrat Commissioner Ann Ravel, at the National Press Club, in which she said micro-targeting online was allowing political advertisers to ignore minorities. If minorities don't have the money to buy what you're selling, why would you spend money targeting them if they're incapable of purchasing it? And they said, maybe we need a quota system. We do not need a quota system. Our Second Amendment was under attack, but yet they call it a Second Amendment right. It is a right. Let's put another word to it. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and maintain them and keep them, is a civil right. Use it in that context. It's our civil right because it's in the Constitution, and they cannot take away civil rights. When you compare the civil rights to all these other, quote, civil rights that are not even in the Constitution, but they claim for the non-producers in our society, then they'll have to start thinking of some other way to change that. Now, I want to bring this up to your attention, particularly people of faith who support their churches. The largest Christian charity has been infiltrated by Hamas. Mohammed El Halabi, an employee of World Vision, the world's largest evangelical Christian charity, has been charged in Israel with funneling tens of millions of dollars to the military wing of Hamas, a designated international terrorist organization affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. We don't see that in our newspapers, do we? We have to get this from a foreign source. The arrest was made last June the 16th, according to the Israeli daily newspaper, but a gag order on the case was filed and Halabi was indicted the following Thursday. The indictment reveals details of how Hamas infiltrated Federal Way, Washington-based World Vision, a global Christian outreach activity in nearly 100 countries. 100 countries. So in your church organizations, go to your treasurer and find out, ask him directly, your pastor, what organizations, what charities your church is delivering to, because you might be supporting Islam. Halabi, director of World Vision's Gaza branch, was detained at the Erez crossing in Israel as he was headed back to Gaza on his way home from routine meetings. Several Israeli news outlets were reporting. Halabi was being held since June without access to legal counsel or family visits. Well, that's Israel. That is not America, but it's not illegal, so I'm not even going there. World Vision stands by Muhammad, who is a widely respected and well-regulated humanitarian, field manager, and trusted colleague of over a decade. He has displayed compassionate leadership on behalf of the children and communities of Gaza through difficult and challenging times, and has always worked diligently and professionally in fulfilling his duties. That is a quote from from the World Vision's Eastern Jerusalem office that was released after Halabi was arrested. But Halabi only uses his humanitarian mask as a cover for his Islamic work, according to the prosecution's office. The prosecutor described him as a Hamas activist who had been using his high position in the charity to systematically divert millions of dollars to the military arm of Hamas, financing, among other things, the digging of the terror tunnels that the Jewish state is blowing up almost every day. The secret terrorist funding, according to the indictment, was taken out of donations and resources that had been dedicated to humanitarian assistance for Palestinians living in the Gaza Strip. The indictment includes 12 counts of security violations of passing information to the enemy, membership in a terrorist organization, funding terrorism, participation in an unlawful association, and contact with foreign agents. Hamas has controlled Gaza since Palestinian elections were held in 2006. So make sure you check out who your church is donating to, because sure enough, corruption is got everywhere. And it's a very, very long article, but I think I pretty much predicted or covered what is important there. Well, I'm being signaled it's time for us to go to our sponsors again. So at this time we'll take a little break, and I'll see you on the other side.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited. Now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT. Now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down. Going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, America. The first ever $5 flavor menu is here, and it's a game changer. For just $5 each, you can get a medium one-topping pizza, Wing Street Wings, a Hershey's cookie, and your other Hut favorites. A Pizza Hut pizza for just $5. It's the ultimate crowd pleaser.
How are you feeling, crowd?
Very pleased, thank you.
We do what we can here.
$5 for a Pizza Hut pizza. How can we not be pleased?
Good crowd today.
The $5 flavor menu, America's best pizza deal, only at Pizza Hut.
Well, welcome back to Georgia's Hour on FetcherNews.com. This is George McClellan. You can be contacted at 706-889-5825 or george@FetcherNews.com. Peggy Noonan wrote about Donald Trump this past weekend in the Wall Street Journal. And she says Trump things you might not know about him. And that, in light of the debate that just went and what I'm going to read you in a few minutes, I'll go over this brief sketch. Trump hopefully is waking up some of the rhinos. The criticism of Trump are amazingly missing something. They are lacking in negative stories from those who work for him or have had business dealings with him. And while it may surprise many, he's actually humble when it comes to his generosity and kindness. Trump believes that America should not intervene militarily in other countries' problems without being compensated for doing so. To help lift the yoke of oppression, they should at least pay for it. Trump wants America to have a strong military again. Trump wants a strong foreign policy and believes that it must include 7 core principles. And those principles: no apologies, maximum firepower and military preparedness, only go to war to win, stay loyal to your friends and suspicious of your enemies, keep your technological sword sharp, see the unseen, prepare for threats before they materialize, respect and support our present and past warriors. Trump believes that terrorists who are captured should be treated as military combatants, not as criminals. China's manipulation of their currency has given them unfair advantage in our trade dealings with them. Trump believes that Trump wants passage of NOPEC, NOPEC legislation, and that's the No Oil Producing and Exporting Cartels Act, and it's Senate Bill 394, which would allow the government to sue OPEC for violating antitrust laws. Trump believes a secure border is critical for both security and prosperity in America. Trump wants a radical change to the tax system. Trump wants Obamacare repealed. It's repealing itself, but it still has to be removed from the books as legitimate. Trump wants spending reforms in Washington. Even though he says we need to cut spending, he does not want to harm those on Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. Trump wants reform of the welfare state. Trump believes climate change is a hoax. Trump opposed Common Core. Trump is pro-life. Trump is pro-Second Amendment. Trump views on same-sex marriage is that marriage is between a man and a woman, but he also believes that this is a states' rights issue, not a federal issue. Trump supports the death penalty. He believes that there is a lack of common sense, innovative thinking in Washington. Trump's entire life has been made up of success and winning. He is a fighter that clearly loves America, and a mile of road will take you 1 mile. A mile of runway can take you anywhere. And those notes are from Peggy Noonan of the Wall Street Journal. So I'm going to give you my final thoughts, the debate and the unseen story. We've seen the video of Hillary's collapsing and being tossed into her Secret Service car, the big black SS bodyguard at hand with a syringe, ready to puncture her with a dose of whatever. We've heard stories of her cracked head and how that came about, marveled at the fast recovery from her little bout with pneumonia at her daughter Chelsea's apartment at 21 East 26th Street, Apartment 4 in New York's Flatiron District. And we've marveled at the restorative, life-giving properties of a swig of water from a plastic bottle, allaying the serious possible effects of heat prostration due to a lack of proper hydration. Oh, whoa. Do you know what else is at 21 East 26th Street, 4th floor? It is Metro Care Home Services, Inc. Each floor of that building is occupied by a single apartment, except Chelsea's. Metro Care Home Services is the secret lair of Hillary's professional physician and pharmacist, and she is its only patient. By this subterfuge, all health problems of Hillary Clinton simply disappear. At Monday night's first debate with Donald Trump, however, Hillary looked healthy. She stood a ramrod erect, straight, but never moved 1 inch from her spot at her special lectern during the entire 90-plus minute assault on the public senses, and she has never even hinted at a cough. Now, what did we miss here? Rules were made in advance, agreed upon, and apparently enacted without dispute from either side. Trump suspected his microphone went a little dicky, yet I could have sworn that Hillary was supported upright by her broomstick stuffed up her backside and secured under her red pants seat with duct tape. Hillary's commentaries, made in response to Lester Holt's soft question, were particularly socialistic, lacking in substantive detail, all promising a utopia funded off the backs of wealth earners who haven't yet, after all of these many years, paid their fair share. America can't remotely even afford Hillary's brand of government. Besides, the Constitution does not provide for first or second-class citizens. She said the rich make all this money and it should be shared with the people. Well, it is. The people who invest their own money in companies as stock market investors do so in the hopes the company's earnings will return a profit to them. Not simply scatter the money to the wind so that the people can scramble around and grasp their fair share. That's a totally communistic philosophy. It doesn't work, it has never worked, and it is the precursor to poverty, it is the handmaiden to crime, and the yellow brick road to enslavement. Hillary Clinton's plans cannot withstand the scrutiny of public discourse without special favors, lest she quickly wither like the Wicked Witch in the Oz story. The Democrat Party is over-anxious for a vote fraud because they know that when exposed to the pure light of truth, their philosophies disintegrate into puddles of green mire. So Democrats become intolerant of legitimate citizens. They demand reversal of voter ID laws so as to allow the dead as well as the illegals to vote Democrat on the vain promise of free goodies for everyone. Any jurist, any judge of any court who fails to recognize that a voter photo ID law card is essential to electoral fairness and strikes down voter ID laws should immediately be removed from the bench. Photo IDs are required for thousands of other daily functions, but not for voting. That's a stacked deck against liberty and a vote for slavery. Where is the iron resolution once possessed by Americans, especially in the first generation of American immigrants? We are in sore need of a backbone. And remember, freedom is our goal, and the Constitution is the only way. Now, go get them. Interesting. FBI Director Jim Comey was back on the stand in front of a congressional hearing, trying to justify the new information that came out in his email dump the previous Friday. I did not watch that. Other things are in my mind. But what came out was the surprise by Huma Abedin. The FBI had just shown her an old email exchange over Clinton's private account between Clinton as Secretary of State and a second person whose name Abedin did not recognize. The FBI then did what the FBI is never supposed to do. The agents informed their interviewee, Abedin, of the identity of the second person. It was the President of the United States, Barack Obama, using a pseudonym to conduct communications over a non-secure email system, something anyone with a high-level security clearance, such as Abedin, and I don't know why she has one since she's affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood, would instantly have realized was a major breach of security laws. Abedin was sufficiently stunned, according to the FBI, that just for a moment, the bottomless capacity of Clinton's insiders to keep cool in a scandal was overcome. And she said, quote, "How is this not classified?" She recovered quickly enough, though, the FBI records show. The next thing she did after expressing her amazement was to ask if she could have a copy of the email. So the Clinton administration, the Obama administration, Clinton before and after, to this very day, are so corrupt, and they have so corrupted the political process, even the FBI, that whole system has to be swept away. Things are not going well inside the FBI. The ranks absolutely know that the director Comey is a crook. Well, he's not a thief, but he is compromised. He has colluded with people who are crooks, and he's out there doing his best to maintain the dignity of the President of the United States at the cost of his own and protect Hillary Clinton. It wasn't his intention to protect Hillary. It was his requirement to protect the president. I don't know where he got that from. J. Edgar Hoover would have never done anything like that. Imagine what would happen had Clinton been indicted. The White House would have attempted to maintain the secrecy of the Obama-Clinton emails under invocation of a bogus presidential communications privilege. But Clinton's defense lawyers would have demanded the disclosure of the emails in order to show that Obama had engaged in the same misconduct. All right, Congress, it's time to start impeachment proceedings, even if 3 or 4 months left. At least make him defend himself. Make him defend himself. This is... We've got to paint. It is essential that the Democrat Party, the Obama administration, be painted with the black paint for the villains they are. Got to do it. Well, with that, I've probably burned up enough egos out there, and my own included. And I think, do we have Oscar on today? No Oscar today. Well, this is Wednesday, isn't it? So anyway, anything else? What we've got? 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes. I'm being told by Cole. I thought I was nearing the end. All right, let me do a few more things on this then. Of course, the problem with the Bureau and Obama's proven involvement in it is that there was never going to be a case against Hillary, the Justice Department, or the administration, or anybody in the administration. It was not going to happen. The president's involvement guaranteed that. Albanese was startled by the revelation. No wonder. People in her lofty position know that direct presidential communications with high-ranking officials who have national security and foreign policy responsibilities are presumptively classified. You know, my job with the Navy for 20 plus years, I had top secret security clearances, crypto, SBI, SCI, special compartmented, and these problems never existed because we were constantly alerted. In fact, we investigated other people who violated the acts. So, you know, to me, it's a non-starter. This woman pretends like she has no idea what it's all about. She's in there to support Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamic side, and to give guidance to Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton takes that guidance. As is the case with Clinton's emails, they discovered that many of those emails were from General Petraeus. Now, he got nailed by one, and it wasn't even with Clinton. Why didn't they nail him with the emails to Clinton, but the one he gave to his biographer, who was his lieutenant colonel girlfriend or whatever? Well, because that would have involved the president again. Now, I'm not saying General Petraeus did anything wrong. He was working as the director of the CIA, and he was communicating with the Secretary of State. She was communicating with him, so he responded, apparently, on her email server. Obama once issued this directive, quote, "The unauthorized disclosure of foreign government information is presumed to cause damage to our national security," close quote. Well, in addition, the order goes on in section 1.4 to describe other categories of information that officials should deem classified based on the damage to national security. and that disclosure could cause. Included among these is foreign relations, foreign activities in the United States, military plans, and intelligence activities. That was exactly what we did when I was working for the Naval Investigative Service years ago. Those same things applied. Nothing has changed. Obama's pseudonym exchanges with Clinton had to have crossed into these categories. They were born classified. They were born classified, and as I have repeated earlier, the fact would profoundly embarrass Obama if not get him indicted under a impeachment indictment from the Congress. Now I'm being told that I have used up all my good time and the air in this room is getting thin, so I will be back tomorrow. We will continue on this email business, and so bye-bye. Thanks for watching.